In this video, I'm going to explain step by step the target market strategy that's generated millions of new customers. If you're a business mentor, coach, consultant, trainer, or business owner in any industry, this is for you. Without question, this one strategy has the ability to transform your business in as little as a couple of weeks when you follow my advice. I recorded this at one of our recent Business Mentoring Masterclasses that each person paid £7,500 to attend. So hit the subscribe button and notification bell if you're excited to dive into the video, and we'll get started straight after this. So the very first thing is the target market. Now, when people say to me, Steve, what do you think? And, you've got all these tactics and strategies, but what do you think if there was one thing? I said yesterday, people always ask for the one magic bullet. There isn't really one, but they say to me, look, Steve, what do you think is the most important thing for me to do to grow my business? It's always been, get the target market right. Now, you don't have to have just one target market. You can have multiple target markets, but get the target market right, and then everything else dovetails into that. And I'm going to take you through why this is so important. And you'll see the way that we construct this process, you'll see why it's just so important and why it can have such an amazing effect on any business when they get the target market or target markets right. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to play a video, and what this is going to do, it's going to show you really how most people kind of target the market or target their markets, if you like. And this clip, some of you may have seen it. It's got nothing to do with target marketing, but when I saw it, I thought, yeah, this is perfect to explain to people how they're doing their marketing, how they're doing their targeting. So it shows really the worst of it, but also how then once you do identify the right target market, the difference it can make. Now, this was an experiment, and this is an experiment conducted by the Washington Post. You know the Washington Post in the States? And what they did was, they got this guy called Joshua Bell. Anybody heard of Joshua Bell?
Only when I watched your video.
So Joshua Bell is regarded as one of the finest, if not the finest violinist in the world right now. And what they did was, just for fun and part of an experiment, was they thought, look, this guy can charge up to $5,000 an hour for a sitting, okay, and charges, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars for people to come and watch him in concert. So they thought it'd be really fun to plonk him in a Washington DC subway and get him to play his beautiful music and see how much money he makes. So when I saw this, I thought, yeah, this is perfect to explain. Obviously, it's an analogy of the target market. But so just watch this. It's going to ask you a question towards the end. So once that question's asked, just shout out what you think is the answer. Wrong place.
Wrong music.
Wrong. It doesn't sound great on there, does it? So that's a really good way to demonstrate kind of how most people do it. In a way, what's happening there is he's sort of playing to everybody, isn't it? And what happens is, this is how most people do it. So, that's not a bad circle. So, what most people do is they do what's called mass marketing. Okay, so they target everybody because they think, well, my product or service suits everybody. I'm going to target everybody. And actually, part of that I understand and I sympathize with, because actually, if you think about it, what type of marketing do most small and medium-sized business owners see every single day? From what type of organizations? Big brands, don't they? Yeah. So what they're seeing is this brand building, name awareness, whatever you want to call it, type of marketing. And it's all around us. So logically, the business owner thinks, well, these businesses are really successful. This is how they market their business. That must be a successful way to do it. And I can understand completely the rationale behind that. So I don't criticize business owners for copying that. But the problem is, how much money does it cost to create a brand that has value? That we're talking about these brands, we mentioned them yesterday. I think Mike mentioned about Coca-Cola yesterday and all these other brands. Look, what I'm definitely not saying is I'm not saying brand isn't important. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying I can understand why small business owners would use what we call a mass market approach. Okay. So basically what we're saying is, look, does this work? Yes, and actually for even small businesses, they will get a certain level of results. He generated $32. Okay, so it worked, just not very well. Okay, now what do you think would happen if, just for example, he was doing this right in front of, I don't know, the Royal Opera House in Sydney, yeah. and people are actually going in who actually do understand and do appreciate classical music? What do you think would happen then?
Well, then if they were going to check money, they would do, wouldn't they? Or at least what they would do is that they would stop and listen.
Yeah, they would, because it's a much more concentrated market on the people who actually really love classical music. Okay, it's kind of an obvious statement, but if you think about it, that's how most people do it. So what we're saying is, really, what you need to do is you need to concentrate your efforts, your cost, and everything else on smaller segments of the market. The people who are most likely to buy from you. Okay? Now, but think about that. So, business owners typically use this approach, the mass market approach. When you say to them, what we need to do now is actually concentrate on smaller segments or segment of the market, what do you think their fear is?
They're going to miss out.
They're going to miss out. Okay, because they're thinking, well, hang on a minute, what about all these lot? Okay, so there's a fear there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you a clip now to kind of reinforce this and why the fear is all wrong. Anybody seen the film What Women Want?
Yeah.
Okay, so great film with Mel Gibson, Helen Hunt. And where this clip starts is where Mel Gibson goes to see his shrink, who's played by Bette Midler, who plays it brilliantly. But what happens before this is Mel Gibson, ironically, is working for a large ad agency in New York. But the thing is, the ad agency is kind of full of these male chauvinists like Mel Gibson, okay, and they're very, very male-dominated. The problem with that is they have got this much, like 0% of the female market in terms of advertising budget. Because most of the account managers and execs are very, very male-dominated, which means that they can't sympathize with the female brands and all that kind of stuff. So they're missing out on literally billions and billions and billions of dollars because the firm just hasn't got any kind of resonance and ability, if you like, to work with female brands. And they're about to appoint the creative director, and everyone thinks that Mel Gibson's going to get it. And to his surprise and disgust, they appointed Helen Hunt, who is a proven creative director working for another ad agency. But they brought her in because she's a female. And she obviously has a better chance compared to the guys in the firm of getting female-orientated brands to come and advertise with the agency. So what happens is she calls a board meeting for all the top account execs, and they're all in there, and Mel Gibson's like, this is a nightmare, this. Anyway, she comes and she's prepared a box of stuff. And inside this box are female brands that are right now seeking representation for ad agencies. So you've got things like lipstick, you've got eyeliner, you've got stockings, all that kind of stuff. So she kind of throws this box across the table to each and every one of them. And she says, look, we haven't got a slice of any of the female market, blah, blah, blah. What I want you to do is I want you to go home today and I want you to look at all these brands in here. These brands are right now looking for an agency. And I want you to come back tomorrow with some sort of slogan or tagline that we can focus on to promote these brands. So Mel Gibson's like, I'm not doing that. Anyway, he goes home. There's a big storm happening outside. And he's drinking some nice red wine and stuff, and he's got his feet up on the table, and you can just see him scan this box that's also on the table. And he's thinking, I'm not doing that. And then he thinks, why not? Let's give it a try. So he picks the box up, and he starts trying this stuff out. And he goes into the bathroom, and one of the first things he does, he tries this hair mousse thing. And he puts his hair mousse in, and obviously I wouldn't need to do it. And his hair sort of does that, and then he gets the hairdryer, which is also in the bathroom. He starts, blowing his hair and stuff, and it comes up all really nice. Anyway, then what he's doing is he's tries the lipstick on, and he's pouting his lips and all that sort of stuff. And then he starts putting these stockings on. And as he's putting the stockings on, he slips. And he'd already ran the bath, and as he's slipping, he knocks the hairdryer. As he knocks it, he turns it on with his elbow. So obviously you've got this hairdryer falling into the water at the same time as he is. So you know what that happens? Electricity and water don't mix very well, do they? So literally, he gets electrocuted, but luckily he doesn't die, else it'd have been a very short film. And he sort of manages to slip out the bath. Anyway, the next scene is you see it cut to him lying in bed. And his cleaner is going around the bed and cleaning his room up, and she's talking to him. And he's answering and stuff, and she's sort of looking like that. And he looks up at her, and she's talking to him, but she's not moving her mouth. And all of a sudden he starts thinking, oh my God, am I going crazy? Because he can actually hear what she's thinking, which is obviously the essence of the film. Anyway, so he gets really, really nervous, obviously, because he thinks he's going out of his mind. So what he does is he then goes to see Bette Midler, who's the shrink. And this is where we join the actual video. So let me just play that.
Dr. Perkins.
Yes?
You may not remember me. I'm Nick Marshall. I came here about 10 years ago with my ex-wife, Gigi.
Oh, Christ, not him.
Oh, good. You remember me. I'm sorry to barge in like this, but I don't know who to turn to. I'm desperate. I'm afraid to go to work. I'm afraid of my doorwoman. I'm afraid to get a cup of coffee.
Mr. Marshall, please slow down.
Yes.
Slow down. Let me make sure I completely understand what it is you're saying.
All right. I hear what women think.
Yeah. You know, Mr. Marshall, this kind of imaginary displacement scenario
I'm
really
not
isn't my thing. I do, however, have a very good friend over at University Hospital who specializes in men with male menopause and testosterone depletion. She's fabulous. I think what I'll do is just give her a ring and send you over there. Why did I answer my door? I was so into buying that lamp on eBay.
How much was it going for?
How much was what going for?
The lamp on eBay.
Oh, I see. That's good. Very clever. Dr. Skolnick, please.
All right, you don't believe me. Well, then try another one. Oh, go on. Pick a number. Give it a whirl. Any number.
Okay. A number between 1 and...
A million. Why not?
1 and a million. All right.
644,998, 99, 90. Want to make a decision here?
Oy vey.
Oh, you can say that again.
I didn't say anything.
I know, but that does not mean I didn't hear it.
Okay. Okay. Let's say I do believe you.
Yeah.
That you can hear what women think, even though I'm a grown woman of 51, 47.
Oh, my lips are sealed.
Holy crap!
Oh.
Oh, forgive me.
It's all right.
But this is phenomenal. You can hear inside my head.
Yes.
Why would you want to get rid of such a brilliant gift?
Well, for starters, almost every woman I know thinks I'm an asshole.
That's what I thought when I first met you.
Doc, could you please give me a break here?
Mr. Marshall, you might find this a little unorthodox, but would you mind awfully if I smoked?
No, I understand.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's try to look at the upside of this, shall we? You know, Freud died at age 83 still asking one question. What do women want? Wouldn't it be strange and wonderful if you were the one man on earth finally able to answer that question? Listen to me, Nick. Something extraordinary and I think miraculous has happened to you. My advice is, you must learn from this. You know, there isn't a single woman that I treat that doesn't wish her man understood her better. If men are from Mars, and women are from Venus, and you speak Venusian, the world can be yours. I don't know how this happened to you or why, but you may just be the luckiest man on earth. Imagine the possibilities. If you know what women want, you can rule.
So what you've got to imagine now is what we've done is we've told business owners they've got to go from this to this. So that's akin to Mel Gibson thinking that all of a sudden the fact that he can hear what women want, he's terrified. But what the shrink is saying to him, look, remember what she said at that last sentence? If women think you can rule the world. Okay, so what we're saying there is if you know your target market and you know them inside out, you can dominate your market. Okay, so the first part of Gibson being really, really scared, obviously business owners aren't going to be that scared, but you know what I mean? It's because we're saying to them, look, you got to focus on smaller segments of the market. Okay. And when you do that, what happens is you can actually, instead of you worried about the fact you're not going to get these people here, what happens is, because you're targeting these people, you get a much bigger slice of the market. It happens every time. Now that's pretty powerful stuff, isn't it? Okay. So, but in a way, doing this is the means to the end. Okay, now I'm going to show you another clip that kind of follows this, that shows you how we actually are able to go from this approach to this approach and capture a big slice of the market. And it's all about understanding who we're targeting and making them think, this is for me. Okay? So, what's happening now is Mel Gibson, he's about to go into the coffee shop that he always goes into, and he really likes the woman who serves behind the counter. Okay, Marissa Tomei. And for months and months and months, he's been trying to get a date with her, but to no avail. Because the thing is, what he does, he goes in there, he's this male chauvinist type bloke, and he's just all guns blazing, and it's like just too much for her. Now, bearing in mind now, though, he can hear what she thinks. So what he does is, you'll notice, he first goes in all guns blazing, then he hears what she's thinking, and then what he does is he tailors the message to her, and then see what happens. There's a point in the video where she's doing stuff down here, and he says something to her, and it's a fraction of a second, and she just looks up like that. He's got her, because he's now connected with her on a much higher level than he's ever done before. So just watch the video.
Hubba, hubba, here he comes, looking awfully good today. And I haven't had sex in 4 months. Okay, 6. Oh, why'd I tell him to stop asking me out? I'm an idiot! 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 Nick. How's it going?
Hello, my love. I can't take no for an answer.
About what?
About what? About us.
Just don't hurt me, Nick. I've been hurt too many times.
I know how hard it is to go out with someone new. I mean, there's always that fear of, well, getting hurt. Well, at least that's how I feel inside.
You do, really?
All the time.
Me too, all the time.
So, let's just take it slow and see how it goes.
Slow is good. Slow is really good.
Yeah.
You free tonight?
So do you get what I'm saying there? So what he did was he went in with that sort of the mass market, all guns blazing approach. Then he listened to what she was thinking, and then he tailored the message to suit her. So what that's called is tailoring the message to the market. Okay, and when you do that, that's when you get a bigger slice of the market. Because you can connect with people on a much higher level. I'm sure there's been several points in your lives where you've been marketed to, or you see an ad or whatever it is, and you think, "God, that's for me." That. Well, that's target marketing. When people can actually pinpoint you and communicate with you on a level, so they know your fears, your frustrations, all that kind of stuff, then you connect at a much higher level. And that's what happens when you do that. Because if you think about it, if we're targeting everybody, can our message be specific, or does it have to be general? It has to be general, doesn't it? But as soon as we target groups of businesses or individuals, and they have similar characteristics, what does that enable us to do? Be specific. It's like, if you've got a back problem, and a real bad back problem, do you go to the doctor, a generalist, or do you go to someone who's a specialist? Right. Well, it's no different. It's that important. If they get this right, this will make a huge difference. Because what we do is, all the other core elements are then in line with the target market. So everything is done to make sure that we're communicating with the target market on a much higher level. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So this is a really good example to kind of reinforce what we're talking about. So let's just say you're all starting a new business, okay, and you need an accountant. Okay, so basically you're a startup business owner and you need a new accountant. And you look in your local newspaper and you see a couple of really small ads, both from accountancy firms. So ad one says, ABC Chartered Accountants, tax preparation, auditing, bookkeeping, payroll services, and management accounts for all business types. What approach is that? It's that, isn't it? That's how everybody does it. Isn't it? Now that may or may not appeal to you, but you're a business startup. There's nothing in there really that kind of jumps out at you, is there? Except they work for all types of businesses. But now compare that to this ad. And this is not a great ad, but you can see the difference. XYZ Chartered Accountants specializing in helping startups get their businesses running quickly, profitably, and effectively.
Yeah.
I defy you not to ring that company. Look, you might ring another one because you want a comparison, but I defy you not to ring that company as a business startup. It would be, see what I mean? It's magnetic, isn't it? It's virtually impossible to ignore it. And that's not a great ad. That's the difference it makes. So you go from generalist, we're trying to appeal to everyone, to specialist, where you're appealing to that target market. And the good thing is that we don't have to restrict ourselves to one of these. We can do multiple target markets. But we have to communicate differently. Think about, let's use the accountant's analogy then. Startup target market. Let's say this is startups. And let's say this one is businesses, I don't know, from 1 million to 5 million. Would we really communicate the same with a startup business as we would a 1 to 5 million business? We wouldn't, would we? That's obvious. It's completely different. And likewise, if this is, just for argument's sake, 10 million to 50 million, I don't know, we'd communicate very differently to them than we would these, because their challenges are different from a financial perspective, aren't they? I mean, you know this better than anyone, Steve. That's good. It's good. Just doing that. Do you see the power of that? And that's the difference it makes. That's why when the client does that, they get a bigger slice of the market, because they're communicating on a different level. And it makes the prospective client, customer, or patient think, this is for me. Here's some good example of this. So here's a couple of ads that were in the local newspaper. Here's one here called Garden Busters. Okay, so they commit the cardinal sin, put the name of the business as the headline. But for all your gardening needs, big or small, lawn maintenance, planting, general upkeep, patios and block paving, patio jet washing, etc., blah, blah, blah. What are they doing? It's mass, isn't it? Because big or small, they're trying to capture everybody, aren't they? Now compare this one. Okay, so again, they've committed the cardinal sin. Yeah. Okay, but specialists in the maintenance of larger domestic and commercial grounds. So what are they doing? Yeah. Because look, they're using the word specialists and larger domestic grounds. Now, if you've got a large garden, or you've got property in your commercial property, and they're large grounds basically, again, I would defy you not to ring that business. It's not the best ad in the world, but again, it jumps out at you saying, look, this is our specialism. And it worked because I rang them.
Are they good?
Yeah, they are. They've been doing my gardens and stuff for. God, I moved into where I am now in 2005. So, and they've earned a shitload of money off me, because they come every week for 10 months of the year, 9 months of the year. Now, as I said, that's not a great ad, but if we were doing it, this is what we'd do to that ad. So, we'd change the headline, and we'd make it relevant to the target market. So, do you have large grounds that need maintaining? Specialists in the maintenance of larger domestic and commercial grounds. Obviously, we can't include all the core elements because we just haven't got space. It's a really small ad, that. But that makes a big difference. Okay. It jumps out at you, doesn't it? If you've got a small garden, well, you're not in the target market. But if you've got something that's a bit bigger, you want someone that's a specialist to look after it, don't you? Does that make sense? Now, every single strategy that we go through has what we call a success formula. And I created the success formulas because what I wanted to do was, instead of saying, look, you need to concentrate on one or more target markets. Okay, people may understand what that means, but how do I do that? How do we break that down into easy implementable stages? And that's really where the formulas come in. Because then what we're doing is we're breaking each core element down into finite parts, which means then it's much easier to put it together. Rather than saying, right, you got to do all that, it's like you got to do this, and then this. Make sense? Yeah. So the first thing is we've got to identify. So we've got to identify the target market. Okay? We've then got to create what we call an avatar profile. I'm going to explain what all this means. And then we're going to tailor it, and that gives us the target market. Okay, so 3 stages: identify, avatar, and tailor. So let's look at identifying your target market. So what we're talking about here, it's your best clients, customers, or patients. Who wants more of their best customers? We all do, don't we? Okay, so that's who we're going to target. The best types of customers, clients, or patients. Okay. Ideally, they're the ones that are most profitable. Because it's really all about profit, isn't it, at the end of the day? And really, generally speaking, it's likely to be, the 5 or 20% of the client base are going to give 80% of the profit. That's usually the case. Pareto's principle, the 80-20 principle, kind of works across businesses. And what I just want to take you through now is what we call the Boston Matrix. Everyone heard of the Boston Matrix? Okay, it was created by the Boston Consulting Group in 1970. Because how many years ago was that? That's a long time ago. But what we did was we looked at this, and over the years, actually, we've developed what we call a customer profiling matrix based around the Boston matrix. And the beauty of this is it's very, very easy to apply. So if any of you have been involved in profiling, whether that's through anything that you do in your existing career or previous career, you know that profiling tools are really, really complicated and take time and cost a lot of money. Well, the model that we've developed based on the Boston Matrix is really, really simple. And what it's going to help you do is going to help you identify who your best customers are in a really easy way. And you can do it, obviously it depends on the number of customers you've got, but you can do it in less than an hour or even, a few hours if you've got hundreds or even thousands of customers. So, and by the way, you can use this matrix for anything. It doesn't have to be for customer profiling. All you need is 2 variables. That's it. Okay, so we've basically got 2 axes, okay? So this is profitability. Okay, so obviously the further across here, the more profitable the customer, client or patient. And this matrix is what we call relationship. Okay? And we've got a number of quadrants, haven't we? We've got 4 quadrants. So we've got A, B, C, and D. So who do you think are the best customers? So this basically means a better quality relationship. What I mean by that is, if it's a good relationship, they treat the staff and the owners of the business with respect. They pay their bills on time. They're generally nice people that we get on well with. And obviously, the higher up there, the better the relationship. These guys, obviously, the more profitable they are, the further they go. So yeah, top right. These are our best, most profitable customers. Okay? Because one thing that's really interesting about having a customer base, as you'll all know, is it's not just about how profitable the customer is. It's actually, are they treating the staff like shit? Does everyone duck for cover when they walk in the office, or when the phone rings and it says who it is? Does nobody want to answer the phone? You don't want that type of client in your business, because they just sap the energy out of it, and actually they cost you much more money than you think they are. Okay, so these are our good clients. Okay, who are our next best? Yeah, because they're nice people. Okay, we're not making as much money as our A's, but we are making money. Okay, these typically are the bread and butter. These are the bread and butter clients, customer patients that every business has. Okay? They're obviously worth having because we do make money. The way to deal with these, though, to make more money, and every business can do this, is systemizing their processes, systems and procedures, and let the systems and procedures cater and deal with these particular customers. Okay, so that's how a business would increase their profitability on these people. Obviously, with these people, we want to spend more time with them, don't we? Because think about it. What happens normally is our best customers, where we have a great relationship with, they don't cause us any trouble. We actually spend less time with them because they don't cause any trouble. But what should really happen? What happens if we spend more time with them? We're going to shed loads more money. But nobody does it because of these guys. So C's. What about C's? Well, they're just like A's in terms of profitability, which is the challenge, but the relationship is shit. So They could treat the staff with disdain or they just treat them really, really poorly. They may or may not treat the business owners poorly. Usually what happens is they're all nice to the business owners, but they treat the staff really badly. They pay their bills late, all that kind of stuff that they're just, you end up chasing them for stuff that maybe you need from them. They're just poor, okay? But your worst ones are these, aren't they? Because the relationship's terrible and you don't make much money. Okay, so what we advise you do is you get rid of these or you sell them. Because you can sell them to somebody else in your market where these people would be decent. They're just not good for you. With your C's, what you're going to do is you're either going to tell them why they're a C. Okay, so get them in, speak to them, meet with them over lunch or something like that and say, look, Bill, Julie, let me show you how we profile our customers. Where do you think you sit? They'll probably say, actually, no, you're here. What do you mean I'm here? Well, let me tell you why you're here. Because every time you speak to Julie, Paul, John, you treat them terribly. They don't even like speaking to you. We send you an invoice and you don't pay for 6 months. I can't have people like that in my business. Actually, when people go through this process, a lot of the time they'll be horrified. They haven't even realized. And what happens is they do that. If they don't improve, they go out. Ideally, that's what your business should look like from a customer point of view. Okay. So, there is another group. We have B pluses. B pluses are a segment of Bs who have the ability that you think to become As. So they could be in development, or they could be a business that you feel they have the potential to become an A client. Okay, and if you like, these are the people that we're looking for. So when we're on about profiling and targeting the right people, these are the businesses or people that we're gonna focus on. This is a really simple model, but it's really powerful. Can you see why that would be? I mean, a client will know where their clients' customer patients fit in this model, and they can do it for each one like that, really quick. There might be a few they're not sure with, so they can ask the staff. The staff will know exactly who the C's and D's are, more so than the A's and B's. And from a business owner's point of view, when they jettison these people, how do you think the staff feel about the business owners?
Great, fantastic.
Yeah.
You've made the right choice.
Yeah, made my life so much easier. Okay. So this is the easiest way we know of being able to identify the best people, the 5 to 20% of people who we're going to profile when it comes to the target market. Okay? It's good, isn't it?
Yeah. So do you put relationships before profitability?
Yeah. I mean, obviously the C...
In simple terms as well.
Yeah, but the C's are obviously more challenging because you're making more money on them.
Yeah.
But in reality, because of all the crap they're probably creating, they're nowhere near as profitable as the business owners think they are.
No, they generally take up your time anyway. So
They do.
profitability might be high maintenance. Yeah.
Without a doubt, a business shouldn't have any Ds.
No.
I completely get why some businesses are reluctant to get rid of Cs.
Yeah.
And that's okay to a certain extent, as long as they do get rid of the Ds.
Yeah.
And they try to educate the Cs to get them further up here. Okay, because in a way, each quadrant's got a quadrant as well, isn't it? So ideally, if we can move the C's up to there, that's going to be better. It's not as good as moving them up there, but so I guess some businesses may not want to get rid of these people, but they're definitely not as profitable as they think they are because they sap the time, energy, and all that out of them. But in terms of profiling, we're not looking at these. We're not looking at Bs. We're looking at B pluses and As. Okay. It really isn't rocket science. There is no need at all for a client for this to take days to profile. This is like a half-a-day job if they've got hundreds and hundreds of clients. This is easy. Okay? Now what we do then is we take what we've analysed from the customer base. Okay. Now, if it's a startup business, they haven't got this, have they? So it's best guess, isn't it? It's like, who do we want to target? Who do we think is a perfect match for our product or service? Okay, so there's a bit of guesswork going on there, but it's still, you know, if only businesses did this stuff right at the start, their businesses would be so much more successful. Okay, so what we've done is we've identified the target market, which is the I of the formula, success formula. Now we're going to create the avatar profile. And this is simple as well. So what we're looking at are the common, first thing is the common characteristics. So obviously we've got two types of market, if you like. We've got businesses that sell to consumers and we've got businesses that sell to businesses. So when it comes to consumers, what we're looking at are the commonalities of the people we've identified. So when it comes to consumers, what type of houses or dwelling do they live in? You know, do they live in city apartments, or do they live in 4, 5, 6 bedroom detached homes? And you know, what are they living in? Okay, or are they even living in semi-detached? You know, all that kind of stuff. So there will be a commonality, a thread, where these people live and what types of houses they live in. What types of cars do they drive or don't drive? Yeah? How many children have they got? Or have they got no children, typically? Typically, what's their income or joint income? Okay. And who are the decision makers? Okay, now, generally speaking, it's not as simple as just saying, well, my product fits the female or the male, because usually if they're in that sort of relationship, then it's going to be usually someone else is involved in the decision-making process, just because that product may or service may be suitable for the male or the female or whatever it may be, doesn't necessarily mean the other person isn't involved in that decision-making process. So businesses, again, the location, does it even matter where they're based? And then what about their size, you know, the industry that they're in, the products and services, the decision makers, that sort of stuff. So all you're looking at and all the client is looking at is, right, what are the commonalities? What are the common characteristics for the people we've identified? Next is, what are the motivations for buying? Okay. There are a load of different motivations, okay? And obviously we've listed all these for clients. Which ones apply? So, you know, is it fear? Is it the great value? Is it indulgence? Is it, I don't know, lower prices? Hopefully it's not. Of course, yeah. You get the slides, you get the scripts and everything. Yeah, I'll show you this later. But yeah, you get the slides, you get the scripts, you get everything. Okay, so there'll be one or more motivations why people buy their particular product or service. Okay, and what is the key pain point? Okay, what this really looks at is, what is the reason for really buying that product or service? So it could be efficiency, ease of use, time, that sort of stuff. Okay, for us, what's the key pain point for us attracting business owners? What's their real pain point?
They're not making money.
Inability to grow.
Yeah, inability to grow. They're not making enough money. They're
Knowing how to grow. Yeah.
okay. So when you combine these three elements together, what you're doing is you're creating this very simple but very, very powerful avatar profile of the ideal customer. And obviously, you just write them all down. The client would write them all down. And then you've got the common objections. So these are reasons for not buying, okay? Because there are always reasons for people not buying. So if we can identify those, then we can address them, can't we? So it could be a number of factors, and obviously it's dependent on the client, but it could be cost could be an issue, okay? That doesn't mean to say it's a challenge. What it means is we've got to address it. We've got to make the cost seem like irrelevant based on the value that we provide to the customer. Is it time? So, for example, does it take too much time? So we could say that when a client comes on board with SAP, and obviously they've got to do all the creation and implementation, one of their challenges is, which it is, and we do focus on it when we're selling million plus, is their lack of time. And
We have the solution.
yeah, and it's one of your, which we'll talk about tomorrow. It's one of your identifying factors where you've got an opportunity to ascend a client when they turn around and say, look, I just haven't got time to do this. Well, I've got something that could help. Yeah. So they might not have heard of you before. Again, that could be a big reason. Or there's other alternatives, the competition, obviously. And again, it varies for every single client. And again, write them all down. And that is how you create the perfect avatar profile. And again, it's not difficult to do this. And your clients will actually know most of this stuff, but they've never articulated it. So he's just an example. Okay, so this is a completed avatar profile. So stage one is basically what are the common characteristics. So this was, if you imagine, this is the profile that we created for accountants that are good targets for us for the Growth Club as partners, yeah? So the industry obviously is accountancy, or CPAs if they're North American generally and Australian. Business type, so that they're owner-managed firms, they're a single site, and they're accountants that don't have a home office. Okay, so it's kind of a firm, if you know what I mean. So sole practitioners, okay, up to 4 partners maximum. You know, it's going to be too hard for us to try and work with 5, 6, 10, 20, 30, 50 partner firms. There's just no point. Let's go for the low-hanging fruit. The decision makers, so the partners who are entrepreneurial, they're ambitious, they're willing to work hard to achieve results, they're serious about generally helping their clients grow their businesses. They're frustrated at their own growth. They're likely to be skeptical because they've tried other things before and they didn't deliver. Okay, so it's like a brutally honest profile. And if we write that down, it's very easy for us to actually then do what Mel Gibson did, figuratively speaking, and get the date. Location. Okay, so write the locations down if that's important, as it is for us. The motivations for buying, so affiliation, convenience, ego stroking. The ego stroking one's interesting, but what we found, I know it's early days, but the fact that it's their growth club actually gives them quite a nice, feeling of, ego and whatever you want to call it. Okay? What are their key pain points? So they need to get more clients, okay? They need to increase recurring fee income. They need to maximize the value from their existing clients. They currently find it hard to convert leads into new clients at the right fee. They're pressured by low-price competition and commodity selling. Frightened of the Big Four taking a slice of the action. More and more, the Big Four are starting to branch out into the SME markets, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah. And worried about the impact of online accounting systems like Xero. Okay, so those are what we class as the key pain points. And then the common objections that they have is they don't trust it'll work, because they've probably tried loads of other stuff before and they didn't get results. And obviously, because they're exposing their clients to our workshops and to you, they're worried that it doesn't deliver, which is a genuine fear. So, which is, I work really hard in the webinar to overcome all these things because I know these are real. Okay, but when you've written all this down, you can build the profile and you can then focus on overcoming and accentuating all these things. You can't do it if you haven't done this. How many people do you think out of 100 business owners will have done anything like this? Virtually, maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe not many.
The word of sitting when written it down.
No.
Might put an idea in their head.
Yeah. This is easy, guys. Okay, I keep saying it. This is not rocket science. This is easy. This is the key, though. So we do all that. So we identify the fact that we do want to identify a target market or target markets. We then identify exactly who they are. And then what we do is we tailor to match the message to the target market. Okay, so that's the thing that works. Okay, the stuff that goes before, we have to do to get to this point. But this is the bit that makes it an amazing strategy. It's the Mel Gibson suddenly realizing that Marissa Tomei was worried that she was going to get hurt. So he tailored the message to her. Okay. Now, if we know who the avatar is, we can tailor the message to them, can't we?
I'm looking at swiping left or right here.
Yeah, it doesn't morph into each other, unfortunately, but you get it. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Look, you've all heard of target market before, and this is something you must impress on your clients. You've all heard of this before, and you're probably thinking, it can't be that important. It can't make that difference. It makes a massive difference, because what we're going to do now is when we move into all the other core elements, they're going to be tailored as well to the target market. So they have even more power because we know who we're targeting. This really is significant. Okay, so in terms of tailoring, these are the core elements that we can tailor on top of what we've done for the target market. So we've got the differentiator, okay? And I'll show you how we do this in a second. You've got the headlines. You've got the offer. You've got the features and benefits. Social proof. The guarantee. So that's 6 of them we can tailor to the target market. Now, we are so blessed. Your clients are so blessed right now because we have these platforms. We have things like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. We didn't have these 10 years ago, 15 years ago. What we had 15 years ago, and by the way, they still work really well now, we had mailing lists. That's not an email list, that's a physical mailing list of people in our target market that we can mail to. Okay, so we could go to a list broker and we could say, right, this is the profile. Guess what we do? We give them the profile and say, right, this is the profile of our target market or target markets. Can you identify people like this that we can target? List broker will come back with all the best lists. Yeah. Brilliant. Works just a treat, just as well now. Actually, it works better, and I'll explain why in a sec. Or we could go to publications and that are identified with our target market. So yesterday we talked about Graham Harris at Technifold. There was two publications in the UK that were perfect for him. One was called Print Week, and one was called Printing World. Read by printers and print finishers. Perfect. So we'd get a list off those guys that we could mail. Okay. This works better now, though, because we talked about this yesterday, didn't we? 10, 15 years ago, we used to get a pile of mail by the postman, didn't we? At home or at work. We get one a day. I mean, I don't even get one a day sometimes. So we don't even have to work as hard as we used to do to get noticed. So direct mail is more effective now than it's ever been. So this is great. It's better than it was because everyone's gone online. Okay, but the beauty of what we've got now is we've got this as well. So with Facebook, so we can look at our profile and Facebook will match people to that. Better still, we can take all our existing customers, the best customers who we've created the avatar profile for, we can upload their emails into Facebook, and we can create what's called a lookalike audience based on those people, and Facebook will find people just like that. How amazing is that? I mean, we live in a world now where profiling with marketing platforms is awesome. Facebook spend hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars a year on buying offline data to merge it and sync it in with their users so they can build more powerful profiling tools for their advertisers. We're so lucky. Twitter and LinkedIn, good. I'll be honest, nowhere near as good as Facebook in terms of profiling, but getting better. Okay, Facebook is the leader by a long stretch at the moment. So we do live in a time where when you do the target market stuff right, we have got the perfect solution for all our clients because we've got the offline and we've got the online tools. We never used to have this.
Hopefully, you can now see how this target market strategy is so important. And once you identify one or more target markets for your business, it will revolutionize everything you're doing and help you grow your business faster than ever before. And if you want to be part of one of the world's fastest growing industries, unlock your skills, experience, and expertise, and use it to build a successful mentoring business, you've got to register for my free masterclass training. You can check it out at the link below this video. It's called businessmentoringsystem.com, and make sure you register now to grab your seat. During the masterclass, I show you how to quickly acquire a steady stream of £400, dollars or euros an hour mentoring clients. And if you like this video and you found it helpful, please share it with your friends and colleagues, hit the like button, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell, because I post one new video on building a successful mentoring business every week. Also, in the comment section below, let me know what your big takeaway was from this video, and if you have a request for a video, please let me know. And finally, remember, growing your mentoring business isn't rocket science, but it is a science. I'll see you again next time.